again.
Friday fun video, which seems to be my usual Thursday fun video. I don't know why. I'm trying to turn up the volume here. Okay, so it's Friday fun video on a Thursday, which always seems to happen. Okay, so sort of a preamble. I'm really a Seiko guy, as you guys know. I'm really like into Seiko and that kind of stuff for a number of reasons. Like the hyper high-end luxury brands was never really my thing. Last year, when my great uncle passed, my cousin-in-law, my cousin's husband, was helping go through and clean out the house, and he found one of my Uncle Dick's watches, which was his 1966 Rolex Explorer. Now, when he found it, it was a rusty hunk of crap, and the movement was rusted, basically completely solid. But through diligence and application and investment, and her permission of spending that much money to restore a watch, she didn't think it was a stupid idea. I brought it back. It's mostly original, I would say. It's probably a good, probably 80%, 75, 80% original. So I got to see Rolex up close, and it was pretty interesting. And so we've been thinking and talking and looking, and I did some trading and some stuff like this, and we decided to sort of try to find a good investment piece. And so we brought in an older Rolex Explorer. This is a Rolex 16610. It's from 2002. I've never seen a Rolex Explorer, a Rolex Submariner personally. I've never seen one. But she has a thing for the 1680, the red 1680s. And I was like, okay, she has a thing for the red 1680s. This is not a red 1680, but it's a basic, good old Submariner. So we're going to see it. She's never really looked at it. So I always value her opinion because she has sort of an unvarnished look at things.
Well, I think that people should see the watch first.
Oh, yes, that's fine.
So, there it is. My opinion on it, sorry to sound dumb, but it looks like a diver watch to me. And I like the magnifier on the date, and he likes it too, so he can see it.
Yeah, actually, I kind of never liked the magnifiers on these things. Then we got it, and with my eyes, I can read the date, which is nice.
I don't know if I...
Does it feel different than a Seiko G?
It doesn't feel as heavy.
Doesn't feel as heavy?
No.
Huh. Interesting.
I don't know.
So it feels lighter to you?
Yes. If our second daughter, when she was a baby, threw a diver watch at my head.
Oh, God.
And
Bounced it off her forehead.
And if this bounced off my forehead, it would not hurt as much, I don't think.
Probably not. Probably not. You know, it's interesting because you can definitely tell it's like it's an older style. I mean, because Rolex, they don't really change anything. So this is a 2002 16610. This has the 3135 movement with a full chronograph bridge. It's 27 jewels, I believe. It's I'll have to double check that. It's got it's of course the chronometer tested and all that other kind of stuff. This particular example we got because it has everything in it. It has every receipt, everything that ever happened to it. We have the original credit card receipt of the guy who bought it in 2002. It was fully serviced by Rolex last year. The only thing is the bracelet is just... I'll talk about the bracelet in a bit, but I know now why people are always concerned about Rolex bracelets, and it's kind of funky because, boy, Seiko doesn't have this problem, but I've never seen a damaged bracelet like this, and it's just from wear. Okay, so we're going to take a break and set up over there, and then we'll talk more about watches. Okay, and break. Okay, so here we have, I'm going to talk about this just a little bit, sort of a compare and contrast. So this is, like I said, this is a 2002 Rolex 16610, Submariner 300 meter. I mean, it's a standard watch. It doesn't have tritium anymore. It's moved to Super Luminova and is indicated here by saying Swiss made instead of having a radiation reading on it. It's a very classic old school watch. It is interesting. Rolex, again, I'm an outsider for Rolex, so I'm not, this is sort of a new thing for me. They really sort of seem to stick to what they know. And so in a lot of ways, this is really kind of it's a really sort of an old-fashioned watch. Now, with my other Rolex, I noticed, I was looking at it, this one has a 1570 automatic in it. And I was like, okay, well, this is a 3135, and And when I looked at them side by side, and there were changes, but not major changes. They're clearly in the same family. And so Seiko, doesn't really do that. Seiko doesn't really have a problem with sort of redesigning things radically and just moving on. Rolex has really held on to some of their base things that they do. As a result, some of the things that they do are really old-fashioned. Like, take for example the bezel rotation. I didn't know what to expect because I didn't know what was inside these things at all. I just wasn't sure how they did their ratcheting mechanism at this point, and I was amazed because this one, it was incredibly stiff and it was binding up really, really, really hard. So I pulled the bezel really quickly, and it was just dry. But I was amazed that the only thing that this has under here is a little teeny tiny spring wear. Just one single spring wear. That's it. Nothing funky, nothing special. I mean, this is what, from 2002. You go back to 1978, and this one, while it's bidirectional, this has a much tighter clicking feeling than that, and because it uses rubber O-ring, and it uses sprung ball bearings to provide the clicking. When you go to one of the more modern tunas, they are unidirectional, and their unidirectional is a crazy setup with double leaf springs. This one, that's unidirectional. So you get 120 clicks with this. You only get 60 with that. So, I mean, it's just nutty that a $300 watch, in the case of this, has a better setup than this Rolex. It's just, from a design standpoint, it's just interesting. But the thing that really just seriously blows me away, people talk about, and I kept seeing this in Rolex circles, talking about the links. So you got to make sure the bracelet's good. This bracelet has been eaten alive. Look at the wear right there. Look at the wear. I mean, the bracelet is so worn out that I can't even get this restored. I talked to a renowned Rolex bracelet restorer, and he said, no, it's gone. You have to get new end pieces like this. Because there's nothing that can be done with that. I will tell you, Seiko bracelets never do this, never. I've seen one Seiko bracelet in the whole time I've been doing this that was loose and stretched like this, and that's because the guy, he just never washed his watch, and he had it in really dirty situations all the time. But they almost never do that. I mean, this watch is from 1968. This bracelet has been on this watch since 1968. It has a good amount of wear on it. I mean, it's not, the guy babied this thing, and the bracelet is fine. It's not heavily worn. It's still comfortable. It's not stretched. And it's just folded link stainless steel. I mean, this is a pretty basic bracelet, and it's held up better than this Rolex bracelet. So it's sort of a mystery. And again, like this is a Z199. This is a genuine Z199. And this one is just, I mean, you want to talk about lovely quality, and I've never seen a Z199 fail or wear through like this. I was looking at the connection screws, and look at how much it's worn. I don't know. I mean, the older Rolex links are hollow like this, and then they more recently went to this, which is just a hole, and maybe these last a little bit longer. I question the wisdom of sticking with a design that is clearly faulty, especially considering that a complete brand new replacement bracelet from Rolex is almost $1,100. Okay, well, I have to say, I mean, generally I like the watch. I like the fact that it's the later lumen, I can read it at night, and I really am looking forward to bonding with this. I don't wear Uncle Dick's Rolex very often, just because I don't want to beat it up or anything, and I wanted something a little more fun, and I did some horse trading and some other stuff to make this happen. But I don't know, it's interesting. I'm looking forward to more time with it. And with that, I'm going to hand off actually to Sabrina.
He wanted me to do a compare and contrast to other dive watches that we have. So first I want to start with, this is the one that our daughter bounced off my head.
SRP 775.
It is significantly heavier than the Rolex. and it hurt a lot.
Did it? Well, also it's got nice sharp edges.
Yes, I was afraid I was going to get a black eye, and thankfully I didn't, but I got a goose egg from it. So, there's that one. Let's see. Well, okay, so I think I have to explain myself about this one.
That's a 6159 7001.
So he said in a video that I told him he can never wear it because it's worth so much money. And people were like, oh, you have to tell your wife that you're going to do whatever.
Yeah, put your woman in her place.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. I was raised in a family that wouldn't take tags off of Beanie Babies because they were going to be worth money one day. And if my mother happens to be listening to this because she wants to see her daughter on YouTube, the Beanie Babies are worth nothing now.
Except for the Lady Diana one.
Which I had. Oh well. And so that's why the thought of wearing something this expensive is valuable makes me go, ah! So that's why.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then we have this one.
Yeah, I know. That's the 62 MAS. Just talking about, you want to talk about sort of similar era of watches. The basic sub came into being in the 1960s. There were earlier versions of it, but this is sort of the classic sub. I mean, the earlier ones, of course, had the acrylic crystals and some other stuff, but more or less, this is the 60s form of the Submariner. This was designed in 1965, so they're sort of equal. Now, if you're comparing this era of Seiko to this era of Rolex, there's kind of, they're definitely different beasts. This was Seiko's first 150 meter diver, and they're quite rare and quite sought after. This one's original. It's all original lumen, everything else like that. And it really is a different piece of business. So Rolex's approach at this point certainly made a lot more sense. Though this is an extremely accurate watch with great amplitude. It runs really well. In fact, this watch has better amplitude than this one, which strikes me as insane, but that's the way that it is. But in terms of, I don't know, it's sort of interesting. You can still see maybe a little bit of the derivativeness of this, which is a Swiss case design, versus what Seiko went to later on when they moved to the, they started making their own way, like sort of going for the 6105s and things like that. Sorry, honey, I didn't mean to take over.
Oh, no, that's fine. I just wanted to talk about this one.
Okay.
Well, I was just going to say that I like how unique it is, and it's different from this one, which there are so many different variants of this one that if you don't know anything about watches, they all kind of look the same.
This one does kind of stand out more.
Yeah, it stands out a lot more, so I kind of like that. And we're selling it right now, and it's on the website, so if anybody wants to buy it, then okay.
There it is. Yeah, we have this listed on the website, so if you're looking for a 62 MAS, by Jove, we have one.
Yes, and there it is.
Were you going to talk about the golden tuna?
Well, I guess.
Or the grandfather tuna?
I was just going to, I don't know, this is my favorite tuna.
Is it?
Yeah.
Everybody loves that one.
Our oldest daughter has claimed it for
herself.
Her inheritance.
Her inheritance. She loves it more than anything.
Yeah. No.
And so and in terms of this, to me, it's sort of like peak Seiko. Because at this point in the mid 1970s, the dive philosophies are completely different. This at that point, because they had the 1680s and stuff like that at that point. This was still sort of, stuck in its 60s style. Seiko was really pushing the boundaries of what they could do. And it's so interesting that, their different approaches. So you can see how Seiko kind of was like feeling its way through. And then when it kind of got its feet and started moving forward, you got something really unique, real tool watch. Very interesting. Very different kinds of watches, but I'm looking forward to comparing and contrasting. With this one, I just have to figure out the whole bracelet situation, but other than that, I think it's going to be fine. Honey, did you have anything else you want to say?
No, that's it.
Oh, how's your astronaut doing?
Oh, it is very astronaut-y.
She loves her astronaut.
Yep.
Okay, hey, thanks, folks, for watching our Friday Fun video on a Thursday.